So today we're going to be reviewing Unit 3, Cellular Energetics. So, biological systems rely on energy and building materials to grow, reproduce, and maintain balance or homeostasis. In this review, we'll cover 5 key topics: enzymes, environmental effects on enzymes, cellular energy, photosynthesis, and cellular respiration. Each process connects to one main idea: how life transforms and uses energy efficiently. Enzymes are biological catalysts, meaning they speed up chemical reactions by lowering activation energy. Their structure determines their function. The active site must perfectly fit in the substrate like a lock and key. When they bind, they form an enzyme-substrate complex, which ensures reactions happen quickly and specifically. Enzymes are essential for regulating nearly every cellular process. So you can see the process right here. Environmental impacts on enzymes. Enzyme activity depends heavily on temperature, pH, and the surrounding environment. If conditions move too far from the optimum, enzymes can denature, losing their shape and therefore their function. Sometimes this can be reversed, but not always. Reaction rate also changes with substrate concentration. Too little and the enzyme isn't fully active. Too much and it becomes saturated. There's are also inhibitors. So there's two types of inhibitors. Competitive inhibitors block the active site. So like right here, you can see the inhibitor just like blocks it, right? And then non-competitive inhibitors bind elsewhere, changing the enzyme shapes through an allosteric effect. So right here, it isn't binding like to the active site, like right here. But once it binds to the bottom, it changes the shape, right? So it can't fit. So photosynthesis overview. Photosynthesis can be summarized with this equation: carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight equals glucose plus oxygen. It occurs inside the chloroplast, specifically the thylakoids, where light reactions produce ATP and NADPH and the stroma, where the Calvin cycle uses that ATP and NADPH to build sugars. This process began in ancient prokaryotes and eventually created the oxygen-rich atmosphere that supports life today. So right here you can see a Calvin cycle. So photosynthesis light reactions. During the light reactions, photosynthesis systems 1 and 2 capture sunlight energy, exciting electrons. Water molecules split, producing O2 electrons and protons. Those electrons move through an electron transport chain, creating a proton gradient across the thylakoid membrane. Then, ATP synthase uses that gradient to generate ATP. This process is called photophosphorylation. Both ATP and NADPH produced here go on to power the Calvin cycle and the stroma. Cellular respiration. So, cellular respiration converts energy stored in food into ATP. The molecule uses for energy. It happens mostly in the mitochondria and includes 3 main steps: glycolysis, which breaks down glucose into pyruvate, producing ATP and NADH. Krebs cycle produces pyruvate to form CO2, NADH, FADH, and ATP. And ETC uses electrons to create a proton gradient, driving ATP production through oxidative phosphorylation. Finally, chemiosmosis occurs when protons flow through ATP synthase, forming large amounts of ATP. Aerobic is anaerobic energy. Aerobic respiration uses oxygen and produces a much higher ATP yield. Anaerobic respiration, or fermentation, happens without oxygen. It makes far less ATP and produces lactic acid or alcohol as byproducts. The cristae, or folds inside the mitochondria, increase surface area for ATP production. Some of the energy released becomes heat, helping endothermic organisms maintain body temperature. So here you see anaerobic, right? Here you see aerobic. So you see aerobic happens in the mitochondria. So the main idea: enzymes speed up life's chemical reactions. ATP is the main energy currency of the cell. Photosynthesis captures sunlight to make food. Cellular respiration breaks down that food to release energy. Together, these processes form the foundation of how life captures, stores, and uses energy to survive. So that's it. Make sure to look at the Quizlet card.